In the year 578 AD, a carpenter named Shitsu Kongo drove his chisel into a cedar beam in Osaka. His company built temples through samurai wars, firestorms, and nuclear fallouts. For 1,428 years, it never closed its doors. Then, in 2006, the oldest continuously operating independent business in human history suddenly collapsed. Not from war, not from disease, but because it broke the single unwritten rule that had kept it alive across 40 generations.
Today, the average lifespan of a corporate entity on the S&P 500 has plummeted below 21 years. Modern enterprise is built for speed, leverage, and rapid extraction. Yet across Japan, over 33,000 businesses have survived for more than a century. They host over 40% of the entire planet's centennial corporations. 7 of them have been operating since before the reign of Charlemagne.
When Prince Shotoku summoned Shitsu Kongo from the Korean peninsula to construct Shitennoji Temple in 578, he launched Kongo Gumi. For 14 centuries, the clan maintained a single discipline, specialize in master carpentry, maintain zero debt, and protect the family line at all costs. They survived the Genpei War, the Meiji Restoration, and the firebombings of World War II without ever changing their core trade.
200 miles north, in the mountain valley of Awazu, Hoshi Ryokan opened its thermal bath doors in the year 718. 46 consecutive generations of the same family have run the exact same inn. They do not hunt global expansion. They do not file for public listings. They view the business not as property to be monetized, but as a temporary sacred trust.
Japan possesses more than 140 firms older than 500 years. In Japanese, these corporate fossils are known as Shinise, literally meaning old shop, but the word carries a deeper philosophical weight: to follow a continuous path. As the 46th generation head of Hoshi Ryokan famously remarked, "We do not own the business. We are merely handing it over to the next generation."
Contrast this with the dominant global model of Western enterprise. The modern corporation is an engine designed to maximize immediate shareholder value. It prioritizes quarterly growth, relies heavily on debt financing, and rewards executives who exit within 5 years. It is an architecture optimized for rapid combustion and early extinction.
As interest rate spikes, supply chain ruptures, and stagflation destabilize global markets, the limits of high-leverage corporate growth are exposed. Thousands of venture-backed entities are vanishing overnight. Yet the Shinise stand unchanged, operating on a fiscal logic that treats rapid expansion as a fatal disease.
How do you build an enterprise that outlasts nations, currencies, and industrial revolutions? The answer lies inside 4 hidden structural anchors engineered by ancient Japanese merchants. And understanding them requires dismantling everything you have been taught about corporate success. The first anchor is what financial analysts call the anti-debt fortress. Over 40% of Japanese centennial companies maintain zero net bank debt. They do not borrow money to expand during economic booms. Instead, they hoard capital with a tenacity that drives modern corporate raiders insane.
During the Edo period, Japanese merchant houses stored their primary account books, the daikokucho, inside thick, fireproof clay vaults called kura. When fires swept through Tokyo, merchants drenched their ledgers in water and threw them down deep wells before fleeing. Protect the ledger, protect the capital, survive the blaze.
Data shows that over 53% of Japanese centennial firms keep cash reserves exceeding 30% of their total annual revenue, more than double the Western average. To a private equity firm, this cash is wasted capital
that should be returned to shareholders. To a Shinise, this cash is the air oxygenating the company during a 50-year drought.
When global recessions or pandemics hit, these firms do not lay off their workers or panic sell assets. They use their fortress balance sheets to absorb rising input costs, fund quiet innovation, and keep every employee on payroll. They trade maximum returns during the good years for total survival during the apocalyptic ones.
This resilience is bolstered by a unique relationship with regional Japanese banks. These institutions do not evaluate a Shinise based on next quarter's projected yield. They evaluate them based on 2 centuries of local credit history. Continuity is valued far higher than disruptive speculation.
The second anchor is controlled scale. Western capitalism views business through an evolutionary lens: grow or die. The Shinise philosophy operates on a radically different premise: expand too fast and you will poison the soil that feeds you.
Many centennial companies deliberately cap their annual production levels. They refuse orders from massive global distributors because fulfilling them would require lowering quality or taking on debt to build new facilities. They choose steady-state economics, aligning their output with local resource limits rather than chasing infinite GDP growth.
In the words of one guild master, if you pursue profit first, the customer leaves, the quality drops, and the firm dies. The family name carved on the wooden lantern above the door carries immense social weight. Shaming that name for a temporary spike in profit is considered a moral failure. But what happens when the bloodline fails? What happens when the founder's biological heir is incompetent, reckless, or simply uninterested in taking over the family trade? This brings us to the third and most controversial mechanism: engineered lineage. Dynastic enterprise usually dies in the 3rd generation. The founder creates it, the child builds it, and the grandchild squanders it. Western family businesses collapse at an alarming rate precisely because they prioritize biological bloodlines over executive capability.
Japan solved this through a legal institution known as Mukoyoshi, adult adoption. For centuries, if a business owner realized his biological son lacked the talent or character to lead the enterprise, he did not hand him the keys. Instead, he scouted his brightest young manager, or an outside talent, arranged a marriage to his daughter, and legally adopted the young man as his own son. Today, roughly 90% of all legal adoptions in Japan are not children. They are adult males in their 20s and 30s. Take Suzuki Motor Corporation. Its longtime leader, Osamu Suzuki, was not born a Suzuki. He was an adopted son-in-law, the 4th consecutive adopted heir brought in to run the corporate dynasty. Mukoyoshi fuses the emotional loyalty of a family business with the ruthless meritocracy of a professional executive search. The heir inherits not just a balance sheet, but a lineage. Failure is not just a career setback, it is an act of filial betrayal. But how do these ancient organisms survive in an age of automated supply chains and artificial intelligence? The answer is not by resisting technology, but by enslaving it to serve the original craft. They adopt advanced robotics and neural networks to preserve manual precision while keeping the soul of the product intact. Heritage textile weavers in Kyoto now train machine learning models on the tactile movements of 90-year-old master weavers. The technology does not replace the human artisan. It digitizes centuries of tacit physical knowledge, ensuring that when the master dies, the technique survives. Which brings us back to the tragic collapse of Kongo Gumi in 2006. How did a company survive 14 centuries of earthquakes, civil wars, and economic collapses, only to perish in the 21st century?
The answer lies in the deadly temptation of the 1980s Japanese asset bubble. During the speculative frenzy of the late 1980s, Kongo Gumi's leadership abandoned its ancient financial creed. Lured by cheap credit, they borrowed heavily from commercial banks to purchase speculative real estate. They broke the cardinal rule: never leverage the core enterprise for quick financial gain. When the Japanese asset bubble burst, land values plummeted. Kongo Gumi was left saddled with billions of yen in unserviceable debt. In 2006, after 1,428 years of continuous family independence, the firm went into liquidation and was absorbed by a massive construction conglomerate. The tree died the moment it traded its roots for quick fruit. The downfall of Kongo Gumi became a chilling warning across Japan's merchant guilds. It proved that 1,000 years of history can be erased in a single decade of reckless leverage. The surviving 33,000 Shinise doubled down on their ancient principles. Cash is armor. Debt is poison. Speed is a trap. As the global economic system grapples with supply chain fragility and short-term corporate volatility, the world is beginning to look back at this millenary blueprint. Investors are recognizing that companies built for multi-generational stability generate far higher long-term value than high-burn market disruptors. Consumers, too, are shifting. In an era saturated with disposable plastic and planned obsolescence, there is a growing hunger for objects that carry a history, goods crafted by institutions that promise to be here long after the buyer is gone. The ultimate lesson of the Shinise is an inversion of modern corporate dogma. A business is not a private casino designed to generate short-term wealth for its owners. It is a public institution embedded within a community, holding a duty to its employees, its craft, and the future. As an old guild creed puts it, a business is like a tree. Deep roots survive any winter. When you prioritize survival over scale, when you view debt as a threat to your lineage, and when you treat your business as a sacred trust, time ceases to be your enemy. Time becomes your competitive advantage. In a modern world obsessed with building things fast, perhaps the greatest strategic breakthrough is learning how to build things that never die.